My name is Ann Johansson. I'm Community Services Manager with the Indiana Arts Commission, and I want to welcome you to the Creative Convergence webinar. As we're waiting for people to join us, if you would just drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, that would be great. All right. Thanks again for joining us. We'll get started here, and the point of this is just to give you an overview of Creative Convergence, what it is, and how you can use it to further the arts in your community. And at the end, we'll have time for questions and any clarification that you need. So thanks again. Again, my name is Ann Johansson with Indiana Arts Commission. The Creative Convergence program is open right now and accepting applications for the workshop. This is a competitive program, so it will be reviewed by a panel of reviewers who will look over your applications and select the workshop cohort. And the point of this webinar and this presentation is just to give you an overview, as I mentioned, of the program and highlight some of the past projects that we've done and what we've funded. And we want to equip you, want to be sure you're well equipped and prepared for the application. So we'll get started. First of all, what Creative Convergence is, it's a statewide initiative that brings together cross-sector teams to explore how arts and culture can support community development. So it's designed to support arts-based planning and development in communities that are really ready to take the next step. So teams will attend a 2-day workshop. They'll receive coaching and then implement a community-based arts project with up to $5,000 in an early action grant at the end. This program was inspired by the 2022 Planning with Arts and Culture study, which highlighted the need for more intentional, inclusive, and creative approaches to shaping our communities. So this spring, this cohort will be our 5th Creative Convergence. And we're proud to partner with Ball State University, Indiana Communities Institute. Their team really brings a deep expertise in place-based planning and rural and urban development, community engagement. So we're fortunate to have them on board for this. ICI, Ball State's ICI will guide teams through the collaborative strategies so that it will just help you translate what you learn in the convergence and the creative convergence workshop and translate into creative ideas and actionable projects. So this program is it's open to teams really from any Indiana community, but each team should include one representative from local government, economic development, neighborhood or community development, or the business community. It should also include one representative from an arts or civic organization, and then one local artist or creative. So that first category can include a wide range of roles that support local vitality, such as a staff member from a chamber of commerce or business association, a Main Street organization or community development corporation, a city or county planner, redevelopment staff or economic development officer, a nonprofit leader, maybe focused on housing, workforce, or neighborhood revitalization, or a small business owner or entrepreneur with strong community ties. So the goal really is to include someone who brings a place-based perspective and can help connect the arts to broader community goals, whether that's economic, cultural, or civic. So if you're unsure who might be a good fit for your team, let's talk through it and we'll help you make that decision. We're here to support you. Creative Convergence supports projects that use arts and culture to address local needs through inclusive place-based strategies. So some examples, expanding access to visual arts. So repurposing little free libraries into mini art galleries with students, teachers, and artists. installing a permanent public art exhibition downtown, offering creative programming to deepen interest in the arts. Can also help identifying and adapting a venue for art and music events through community collaboration. It can initiate interdisciplinary programming and developing a shared management plan. Improving school zone safety through art is another example. So designing creative asphalt crosswalks with students and artists to slow traffic near schools. Also revitalizing underused downtown buildings by co-creating enhancements and programming with artists, businesses, and local leaders, or developing incentives and policies to activate underused spaces. So all of these examples show how creative interventions can be both practical and transformative. We're really looking at connecting people, places, and purpose through the arts. So we'll talk next about creating places. This is a statewide crowd granting program run by the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority in partnership with Patronicity. So IHCDA is a state agency and they've partnered with Patronicity to run this program. This is optional, so this program really does empower communities to raise funds for place-based projects through crowdfunding. So if you meet your fundraising goal, IHCDA will match dollar to dollar up to 50,000. What really makes Creating Places unique is its focus on public space activation and community pride. So it's not just about funding, it's about engagement. Residents, businesses, and organizations all rally around a shared vision and help bring it to life. So some example projects include streetscape beautification and walkability improvements, public art installations and plaza activations, parks, playgrounds, and riverwalk enhancements, community kitchens, farmers markets, pop-up retail spaces, wayfinding signage, public Wi-Fi, and local branding efforts. Really, for creative convergence teams, this is a fantastic way to build momentum. So you can engage your community early and expand the impact of your project with the Creating Places campaign. Excuse me. The good news is Patronicity will be presenting during the Creative Convergence workshop. So they'll walk through the program, share examples, and offer coaching if your team decides to pursue a Creating Places campaign. I can't say enough about their team. You'll have direct access to their expertise and they'll help you craft a compelling campaign, walk with you through the whole process and really help you craft something that resonates with your community and aligns with your project goals. Let's talk about eligibility and what teams are a good fit. Applications, as I mentioned, will be reviewed by a committee of peers and community development professionals. So what we're looking for are teams that are the best fit for creative convergence, demonstrate a collaborative spirit and readiness to support arts in their community. They show a track record of community engagement or tackling issues together. They've assembled their team in advance. They're willing to meet before the training, and they understand the community's characteristics and are curious about how the arts can support development. So we're looking for thoughtful, authentic ideas and teams that are ready to learn and grow together. Next, we'll walk through what makes a strong application, what we're looking for in applications. So they'll be evaluated in two areas. The first is team cohesion community. So as I mentioned before, that means you're able to provide evidence of collaboration and you have a plan for sustainability. If someone needs to drop off, how do you sustain that team? And number two, community engagement and benefit. So this is, you're providing inclusive arts based engagement, or you have a compelling plan to initiate it for the benefit of your community. So those are the two things that we're looking for in your application. We'll break those down just a little bit more. Team cohesion and continuity, excuse me. So this looks at how well your team works together and whether you've built a foundation that can last beyond the grant period. Successful teams start with shared values and clear roles, and also collaboration is really at the heart of this program. So lean into that when you're working on your narrative. Evaluators will be looking for evidence that team members have collaborated before, or you have a shared history of some kind working on community initiatives. You have clear roles and responsibilities within the team. Everybody has a part to play. You have a plan for how the team will continue meeting, communicating, and supporting the project after the workshop. You have a clear succession plan, as I mentioned, for maintaining that team functionality and managing team member turnover if that happens. You have a sense of trust, shared values, and mutual respect among team members, and inclusion of diverse perspectives. So across sectors is really what we're looking for. Lived experience, cultural backgrounds, all of those things are important to include. So community engagement and benefit. So what this means, it's really
Wow.
your project will involve and benefit the broader community that you're in, not just your team or organization. So evaluators will be looking for a clear understanding of your community's needs, that you have a clear understanding of that, what your assets are and the opportunities that you have to engage your community. We want to see a plan to engage residents and stakeholders and creatives in meaningful ways. We want to see inclusive strategies that welcome diverse voices, especially those historically included from planning or decision making, and a vision for how the project will create lasting value, pride, or belonging. So describe some tips maybe for this section. Describe how you've gathered input, like listening sessions, surveys, informal conversations within your community. Maybe share how artists and community members will co-create or help shape the project. Be specific about who benefits and how, whether it's youth or small businesses, neighborhoods, cultural groups, things like that. And if engagement hasn't started yet, just outline a compelling plan for how that will unfold. So I just wanted to take a moment and highlight one of our pilot communities for Creative Convergence. This is Warsaw, Indiana. Their project exemplifies the power of collaboration, creativity, and community vision. So the Warsaw Public Arts Commission assembled a dynamic team of city leaders, artists, educators, and civic partners. And their goal was to shift local perceptions of the arts from like a nice to have to an essential infrastructure for quality of life. Their project was called Artfully Warsaw, and it included a co-created public art installation led by artist Gail Christofferson, with over 250 residents contributing mosaic pieces. So this was a citywide arts awareness campaign called Artworks. It featured billboards, social media, storytelling, and hands-on engagement at community events, including fingerprint art and youth participation.
Wow.
So the impact was really immediate and far-reaching. They had over 500 residents share input through surveys and events. Local businesses and foundations stepped up with funding and even mural requests. The city of Warsaw hired a downtown coordinator with arts district experience to help sustain momentum of this project. And Warsaw's team demonstrated really what creative convergence is all about. It's building a culture of belonging through the arts and then laying the groundwork for that long-term investment in creative infrastructure. So now that you're hopefully sufficiently convinced that Creative Convergence is the program for your team, let's talk about how to take the next step.
Let's go out.
So I'll walk you through how to apply,
Okay.
what the grant portal looks like, and as I mentioned, applications are open now through February 20th. You can
Go out.
access everything from our website here. So once you've navigated to the Creative Convergence page on our website, you'll click on the Spring 2026 cohort tab. And then you'll find the guidelines, evaluation criteria, and the link to the grant portal here. Once in the grant portal, you'll log in. If you haven't submitted a grant with us before, you'll need to create a new account to register. If you run into issues or you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact our office. You'll find contact information right here on our homepage. So after logging in, you're ready to submit your initial application to join the Creative Convergence cohort. So this is not a grant application, it's just the entry point into participation in the workshop in the program. So let's now talk about what happens if your team is selected for Creative Convergence. So selected teams will be notified and officially welcomed into the cohort on March 4th. So at this point, you're preparing to attend the in-person workshop. You'll work with ICI on a $1,000 travel stipend for your team. And then the workshop is April 31st and May 1st in Fishers, Indiana. And I have those dates wrong, I'm so sorry. It was March 31st and April 1st in Fishers, Indiana. This is a 2-day workshop. It's really the heart of the program. Teams will explore arts-based community development, build project ideas, connect with peers and coaches. Participation in this workshop automatically makes a team eligible for a $5,000 early action grant. That is not a separate competitive process. As you're developing your projects, we will have another webinar, a virtual session, to really help your team refine your ideas and prepare for the grant proposal, your project proposal. So this will include guidance on budgeting, timelines, community engagement, strategies, all of those things. And then in the middle of April, we'll have coaching calls with each team. This is where you'll receive one-on-one support from IAC and Ball State staff. You'll also receive tailored feedback and help shaping your final proposal. And then we'll walk through every step with you from idea to implementation. So it's really very hands-on. So May 1st is the final proposal. So that's when you'll go back to the grant portal, submit your project proposal for the early action grant. This will include a project description, a timeline for your project, your budget, your community engagement plan, and then just reiterating your team, the bios and roles within your team members. So no match is required for this grant. The grant is paid in full at the start of the grant period. By May 8th, teams will be notified that their project's been approved, funding's on the way. Funds may take up to 90 days to arrive, so really planning ahead is key. And then the grant period starts on May 15th of 2026 and goes through May 30th of 2027. So your team will implement your project during this window. You'll also participate in 3 virtual coaching sessions to stay connected and supported. This is where you can talk with ICI team, Indiana Arts Commission team, your peers, and kind of bounce ideas off each other, what challenges you're facing, and things like that. If you choose to do the Creating Places campaign on top of the Early Action Grant, if you want to do a larger project, you can opt into that, but we ask that you let us know as soon as you've decided to do that, so we can get you connected with Patronicity, get your campaign set up, and make sure that $5,000 that you receive can be used as a match. And then at the end, June 15th, 2027 is when your final grant report is due. This is when you'll submit a final report detailing all the outcomes of your project, the engagement, the impact. You'll include kind of a narrative reflection, participant data, documentation of the project, and your budget reconciliation. So that is the Creative Convergence program in a nutshell. But I did want to give some time for people to ask questions. And we can just pop, if you want to just pop on, or you can put it in the chat, that's fine as well. Anything that I can answer now?